Hi Dave, just first, what's the pitching plan for tomorrow? Have you guys made a decision just yet?
Haven't finalized it. Obviously, I'm sure Yoshinobu is going to be a part of it. How we deploy the relievers around it. If that's the case, I just don't know.
When you look at what you guys were able to do yesterday, how much did that serve as a blueprint of everything in regard to the at-bats, getting to their starter early, things like that?
It was kind of what we had hoped for. I think that, just being aggressive, kind of trying to scare the pitcher, whoever it might be, out of the zone. Darvish certainly aggressive with his spin, and so I think that it's still kind of ball in zone, be aggressive, shorten your swing, because anything's in play with you in any count.
One.
Dave, you mentioned Yamamoto will be a part of it. Like, I'm not sure if he's had much experience coming out of the bullpen. Like, if you do go with an opener in front of him or whatever, do you feel that's something that you could do?
Those are things that we're talking through. I said it, I think, yesterday after the game. We have 6 or 7 relievers available. So I feel good about the relief kind of coverage. How Yoshinobu is a part of it, we're still kind of talking through it. I think the main variable is seeing our guys go out there today and play catch, see how they feel, which will give us a little bit more information on ultimately, who takes the brunt of the game, who starts the game. But to your question, I just feel that he'll do whatever we ask.
And with Freddie and Rojas, like, how do you see their availability for Game 5?
I don't see Miggy available for Game 5. Maybe to pinch hit. I think Freddie's going to be in there with 2 days off. He didn't try to get ready yesterday. He's feeling better today with treatment, and so I just feel like tomorrow he'll be in there.
Jay.
Do you expect Flaherty to be part of the plan tomorrow?
Yeah, he'll be a part of it. I don't know how that would come into play, but I think, again, in an elimination game, I think everyone should be a part of the plan.
And then with Rojas likely out, does that mean Edman is short and then trying to figure out what you do in the center?
Correct.
Do you know what you're doing in the center yet?
I do.
You going to share?
Not yet.
Wait, just to follow up on that, when you have, especially as you're looking at some of these decisions, like obviously you have guys that have been better in the regular season, guys like, Kike, who have like the postseason track record and played well. How do you weigh those things when you're looking at that, especially in a winner-take-all game?
That's a great question. I think it's obviously you're managing with urgency because every game is important, the moment's important, and Kike has shown that he gets up for the postseasons, and that's self-admitted as well. And so just kind of what he's done, it's hard not to ignore that. The sample over the course of the season is certainly something, but the sample doesn't equate to any type of success, in my opinion, in one postseason moment, right? It's kind of the person, that particular moment, and you got to make a bet. And so that's kind of how I look at it.
Go to Fabian, sorry.
Yeah, Dave, with Yamamoto, how confident are you guys that you guys have attacked taking the issue that you guys may have okay in Game 1?
I think that I think we've cleaned some things up, and so to their credit, they've done a good job of scouting and things like that. But I think that as far as overall kind of where Yoshinobu's at, I feel really comfortable.
I know it's just 3 starts, and one of them was the Korea one, but they have hit him pretty well. What is it that you feel like is a lot of them maybe have the good results against Yamamoto?
I think the Korea starts even really hard to even talk about. I think I think over the course it's just lack of command. When he hasn't commanded the baseball, he hasn't been really that good. But when he's convicted and ripping it and attacking hitters with his pitch mix, he's as good as anyone. And so I think that from Korea to the last one, when you start kind of nibbling and getting behind, that's when he's not at his best.
Aaron, third round, right?
Dave, you mentioned the 6 or 7, high leverage guys that you have available. How would you compare this group to like some of your recent bullpens in the postseason?
I think it's better in the sense of the depth. I've shown that there's not a guy I don't trust in big spots. And so you have a lot of neutrality with our guys. And so I think that, you know, when you have to go to the same well for every big hot spot, it has a tendency in the postseason to catch up to you. Where this year, I feel that we have a lot of different guys that we can kind of deploy in certain lanes or certain spots.
As you're trying to figure out the sort of the path for Game 5, is one of those options just another bullpen game, or
It is an option.
Yeah.
It is an option.
I guess the upside of that being those Yamamoto and Jack get to start like 4 times next round if you advance.
That is an advantage.
Stay here on the right. It's cool.
Hi Dave.
Jay.
Last time Darvish pitching a winner takes all game at postseason was 2017 with you guys. And you know what happened at the time. Do you expect to hear haunted by the memory?
I don't know. That's probably a better question for you. I do know what happened. And I think for us, it's just, you know, be ready to hit. He doesn't give in, but when he throws his slider, curveball in the strike zone or makes a mistake with the fastball, we got to be ready to hit it. And I do feel that if we can put pressure on him early, that puts us in a good position.
And just curious, yesterday you keep switching position between CT and KK. What was your thought process?
The thought was there's certain pitchers that I felt if they had a tendency to put the ball on the ground, I wanted Kike at third, and if there's a tendency to have the ball in the air, I wanted Kike to be out there. So that was kind of the genesis behind why I was doing that.
Go to Chelsea, stepping up straight back.
You've obviously been in this situation, you know, been in the top seed, kind of done the delay and the break and everything a few times now, and people talk about the layoff, but I'm curious, like, how much of what makes it hard to be the higher seed in this series is just the difference in pressure, you know, that one team's coming in, you know, seemingly with kind of the expectations of a regular season, and then the other team's got like a little bit less on their back, and if that is a part of it, like what conclusions have you come to about how you make that easier on a team?
Well, I think that, I guess one thing is when you're a higher seed, there's certain expectations that certainly that come with that. I think, you know, in a perfect world, I would say, all things being equal as far as injuries and things like that, is to go to the wild card series and come out of it because it keeps you current. There's momentum behind it. The cost or the challenge is, do you want to take that chance? So obviously you're already banked in a division series. So I think that that's why teams that come out of a wild card series have somewhat of an advantage because they're current as far as playing a schedule that we're used to, and there's momentum going into the next series. And so how do we try to kind of find that same momentum after having 5 or 6 days off or whatever it be? So that's the challenge.
Bill, also in the back.
Yeah, Dave, how much did last night's success with the bullpen game play into your willingness to do it again tomorrow?
It's a big part of it. It's a big part of it. I think that, and also I feel that we can kind of mix some things around as far as lanes and runs because, again, the neutrality and the confidence that our pen has. But yeah, I mean, coming off with what they did last night makes everyone feel pretty confident going into Game 5.
And the tipping issue with Yoshinobu came up in spring training and Korea as well. Why is it resurfaced or persisted in his case?
Well, he's been out quite a bit. He was out quite a bit, and then I think he's had 4 starts since. And I think we identified it. And again, this is something that just some of the stuff that they were doing and some of the swings that they took, we just wanted to take a closer look at it and make sure that we have it all buttoned up.
Go back down the front to Jack.
When you do look at the lanes for different relievers, like, do you take into account trying to get different guys on different hitters from last night? Does that factor into the decision at all?
Yeah, all that kind of, you know, the leverage, the lanes, you know, score, recency as far as head-to-head, all that stuff is in my thought process, absolutely.
And in front, one.
You've kind of done the opener thing before, like Game 5, right? You did it with Julio a couple years ago, and you've also had your ace kind of go in those situations. Like, what are the pros and cons with going with more of a bullpen game for a mixing match as opposed to going, with a guy who you guys have always said, this is why you signed him?
I think that the bullpen games, the lanes, the usage is more defined. And then you sort of go to the next guy. When you go traditional, there's just sort of stress points, breaking points that I've got to make a decision. At what point you pivot, or do you continue to kind of ride with that guy for however many innings or outs? And that's kind of that's the difference, as opposed to a bullpen guy. There's a clear lane or a clear purpose why he's in the game.
Take two more, we got one in the back left, and then over here we're going to third.
Dave, when you were looking into, whether Yamamoto was tipping, what he was doing, was there something that was changing in his delivery, or that he doesn't usually do? Is it more about kind of controlling and hiding the tendencies versus making a shift, coming back?
It's a little both. I think that it's a little of just kind of being aware of it. I think that if we're aware of certain tendencies that we might have, then you can kind of manage it. And so however we decide to go about doing that is what we're going to do, if that makes any sense.
We'll finish up on the right.
About the Yoshinobu, if he doesn't start tomorrow and come out from the pen, what's his idea? Is he comfortable, or what was his thought?
He's very comfortable. He is very excited about tomorrow, whatever happens, and I just don't know what's going to happen going forward. I think our only focus is tomorrow and finding the best pitchers to prevent runs tomorrow, and putting together a lineup that's going to give us the best chance to win tomorrow. So that's my only thought.
So he's committing to either round.
Excuse me?
He's okay with both rounds.
Correct.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.